Hello there and welcome to episode 17 of the Not So Casual Gamer podcast. My name's Sam Christensen and joining me as always is Lewis Cunningham. Lewis, it's been a while. How are you?
Well, yes, it seems like we're doing the 2 weeks.
It seems like we're only seeing each other, and it is kind of the case when we come to record, much to our chagrin, of course.
Well, there's some sort of strange comfort in knowing that there almost is at least that clockwork, though.
Yeah, well, it's like, not that we need to be forced to hang out, of course, but it's nice to know that at least if we can't see each other this week, at least we're going to get a good, set aside time to talk about what we would have talked about anyway if we were just catching up. So, but maybe a bit more structured, and that's nice.
Yeah, it just seems like every episode now, there's so much that's happened and so much drama and stuff, and I feel like now most episodes I'm coming in with some sort of problem.
Yes,
because I've had a terrible cold.
Yep.
For the first time in ages. You did as well. But
I did, but just a week ago. Yeah.
As you could probably hear, anybody who's listening, I'm just getting over it now, and sliced my thumb in half.
Yep.
Cutting tomatoes, just terrible. That was bad. Spilled tea everywhere right before we started. Today's not going that well.
But this episode will. And that's the turning point.
So.
I think it will. I'm confident. Well, if you saw by the title of today's episode, we're going to be talking about Battle Royale games, just in general, kind of going through, why they work, the history of them. But before we do, we'll start off as usual with what we have been playing. Ooh. What have you been playing the past 2 weeks? Because again, I don't really know at all.
So I'm just going to kind of skip over FIFA 22 because with Craig still being with me, that's kind of almost like a intermittent, constant, as you would expect.
Same with Warzone for me.
Yeah. So there's not much to say there. Other than that, I've got back into game passing.
I've seen you on, yes.
Which I've loved. Oh man, I just love Game Pass so much. I love it to bits. It just suits me down to a T. Because even these like silly wee titles, something about just diving into a bunch of them and appreciating this kind of indie thinking outside the box ethos. Really just kind of budget titles, but the creators kind of really maximising their potential with their creativity. So Superliminal is probably the most known one that I've played. It's really cool, kind of perspective puzzle game, like, mind kind of warping type thing. Really cool. Portal vibes for sure. Refunked, which was a little half an hour, strange little. I bought this for 80 pence.
Oh, is this the 80 pence one? Okay,
finally got around to just playing it. Weird, just kind of like a little abstract puzzle game.
Cool.
And that's kind of all you can really say. It's you do kind of need to see it to. I can't describe it at all. You're just like a ball that hops between pillars and activates them and creates a nice collage and then it's done.
Cool.
I Am Fish.
Okay, I've seen I Am Fish, yes.
Probably won't finish that.
Okay.
Deeply frustrating. Looks really nice though.
Interesting.
I think it was the guys that made I Am Bread. It's like the same.
Okay, right.
Like kind of the sequel to that.
The sequel to I Am Bread. They're becoming more sentient, as it goes.
Graphically, actually pretty nice, but it doesn't run so well. And again, it is what it is. It's just deliberately frustrating physics-based.
Speaking of deliberate, I don't know if it's deliberately frustrating and physics-based and on Game Pass and not great. Have you played Skatebird?
No.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, that's not one that... Now, I know that many would think that is that type of thing that would be made for me. Yeah. But it doesn't look good, though.
No,
I don't necessarily want to play something that I don't actually think looks any good to play.
No, it's definitely not great. The Game Pass game I've got downloaded that's a bit more indie that I'm quite interested in is that, I think it's Sable.
Yeah, Sable's one I might get around to eventually.
I didn't hear amazing things about it, but I'm quite intrigued by the art style, and that might just be enough for me to get like an hour of enjoyment out of it, So
and a lot of the time that is you know what?
That's what it's there for.
There's been a bunch of games since we started this podcast that I've just not even mentioned.
Yeah,
because I've tried them for a little bit and then just been like, it's not even worth.
You'd be saying the same things, you know, for those anyway. So
without trying to like beat a dead horse or whatever, but a lot of the times these things are, you know, when I've maybe smoked a bit. Bringing that theme back.
I've never heard you say that before on the podcast.
Yeah, this is it. And I'll maybe do like half an hour, and be like, you know,
that's enough.
It's more. It's already the novelty's wore off.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Consumed a bit of that art style, ready to move on.
That's it.
That works for me.
And that's the beauty of Game Pass. I do love it for that as well.
And the last one that I want to give a kind of special mention to, because I just played a bit last night as well, is actually my first ever Games with Gold download.
Oh, is this this month? I've looked at them.
Yeah.
What one was it?
Aero,
yes. That looks interesting.
I like it a lot.
Cool.
Now, it's very reminiscent of rhythm games of past. It's basically a combination of... So you remember that one that they gave away with PlayStation last year? The one that we sat down when you were at mine.
Thumper. Yeah,
So it's basically that plus Rez.
Okay.
Which was also one they gave away at the same time. Plus maybe a bit of like... Now this is going to sound really bizarre, but it's... Do you remember that when you would sing in Rock Band and it would be the line?
The line, yeah.
It's that, but in a tube controlled with a stick. It's really cool.
Nice.
And it plays really well. It's quite hard, and the soundtrack is great.
I'll download that. I've got it. I kind of... You can't do it the same way as PlayStation, but I've kind of like saved it to my library. Like I started downloading and I just cancelled it. What the other game looked quite interesting on Games with Gold as well. I can't even remember, but I remember thinking, both those games look all right, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure because they kind of swap them out halfway through the month and stuff, and it's kind of staggered. So
okay, so maybe I'm thinking of something different. But I saved both of them because I was quite intrigued by both. So no, that's good. No, that's Games with Gold. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, I've been very happy with my little spate recently.
Well, I've got 2 games that I've been playing other than like Warzone and stuff like that, and Descenders because I still jump into that every so often.
Tables have turned.
Oh, absolutely. That's. I don't even think I have actually played that in the last 2 weeks, in fairness, but I'm just kind of counting that as one. But Death Stranding Director's Cut.
Oh,
there you go.
Was there an upgrade path?
So upgrade path. Put the disc in, and it unlocks the ability to get the upgrade. It's only £5.
Oh,
so I was like,
yeah, that's fine.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I booted it up. If you're playing it again, that's the only way you need to play it. You can take my disc, get the £5 upgrade.
This is really good.
Widescreen mode. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay, right.
What, like black bars?
Black bars.
Oh.
Bumped up frame field of view. 4K, 60 frames per second, locked. OLED with that and the black bars and certain cutscenes, and it just... Oh my goodness, you'll freak out.
It's just a quite different feeling.
It's got this. It's like it was already a cinematic game, but like playing it in that and going up to the incinerator and the first where you carrying the body and that first low roar song coming on. I'm telling you right now, it was just unbelievable. And I have to say, the way that game sets up that world with the like hour-long opening cutscene where you're hardly playing anything, a la Kojima, was so good to see again. That is a good game.
Can I just say, sorry, we will get back on track, but if there's certain people that don't know much about games and they just heard you go a la Kojima, they'll just think you just said some word. I've
cast a spell. Like, it's say the magic word, a la Kojima. That's good. A la Hideo Kojima, the games director, best known for Metal Gear Solid, and the like, very famously known for very abstract storytelling and long cutscenes. That world that he built and kind of having context for it by having played it before. So it's staying in the system. It's so easy to pick up and play in comparison to a lot of other like games, purely because there's so little to the gameplay in the best possible way. I mean that in a nice way with this game. I'm kind of hooked back into the world. I'm gonna not again as it comes to these things. Maybe I'll never complete it again, but I'm just gonna. I've got a save file in the go, and I'll just jump in, make a wee delivery, just a half-hour thing maybe here and there, and just plod through. But it's just visually stunning. Because so interesting if you do play it and don't play it in the widescreen, although I would recommend it. You can get its quality and performance. But I was watching Digital Foundry. Shout out to those dorks and they were talking about the performance and quality mode. Performance mode is, I believe, this is only bit I'm not 100% sure of, it's like checkerboard, or no, is it maybe like 1440? I can't remember, but it's sub 4K and locked 60 frames per second. But the quality mode is 4K, 60 frames per second, with occasional dips into the mid-50s.
That's probably fine.
So to our eye, not noticeable. I think the worst they could get it to was 50 on like a really like a taxing boss battle or something like that.
It's interesting that they've gone with that route and been honest about it.
Yeah. But sorry, the widescreen mode, which gives a higher FOV, for some reason, because the pixel count is obviously not, because it's
there's less processing.
To happen, so it is locked. So that is the way to get a locked 60.
4K.
But then they were even saying in the video, like, if you've got an OLED TV, and I was like, I do. You know, so I was straight on it, and you know, like coming out of the first kind of city, and you're looking over. I sort of turned back to the city, and I turned the wide mode on and off, and just the field of view where you were seeing like the whole city in front of you, and then it just went, yeah. So it was like. It was incredible. So, Death Stranding Director's Cut, I have to say, and that's also, I've not got to it yet, but that's new story content, that's new missions, that's a new firing range, that's new like AR missions where you like go to you can like start these little like combat encounters from the terminal and have like unlimited lives and stuff. So there's new gameplay elements, then the 4K 60 support and the widescreen support for $5. I was like, as pricing goes, it's fair to charge for that, I would say, because there's a lot in there.
I think so.
And also, it's only £5. So,
yeah, no, you've gone and done it. You've got me gassed. Got me gas fam.
Got you gas fam. So I can either give you the disc when I'm kind of finished with it, or if you're itching, you could probably pick the disc up for like mega cheap. And
the problem is there is just such a backlog again. Because it's like,
but for when you get to it, you know,
I definitely want to get round to playing it.
Well, you've said that really before anyway, but I wouldn't even consider not just paying the £5 for the upgrade.
Oh, totally.
Because
you know, I'm determined.
Even the haptic feedback, like the adaptive triggers. If you've got more weight on your back and how you need to shift weight, the more weight, the more strain. So if you're really lightweight carrying, but you still have to shift weight, it's like really easy to push. So it's just little things like that, and then the haptics of like. I'm usually turn the controller speaker off, but see like all the little noises and like navigating menus, and it kind of feels like you're using a device to navigate menus. It's really well done. Right? Oh, of course. Of course.
All right, yeah, this is definitely one I've got to try again. Thing is, so I actually totally forgot that I still had a £30 CX voucher.
Of course.
So I went in after work one day and. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Don't know why. I'm like, I need to try this game. But I've never got around to it. I've got it sitting there as a disc. The Pathless.
Oh right, of course. Yeah.
So I've definitely got to play that soon. I've got a few things sitting in Game Pass Play Later. And then things that are coming on to Game Pass soon that I know. GTA
Remastered San Andreas, man. Like not having. Did you see the trailer?
Yeah, I was
so impressed.
Yeah,
so impressed. I love how it looks because the lighting looks incredible, and it looks the way I've been saying it to people is it looks like how you remember the games looking, but if you actually go back and play the original games, they look terrible.
Well, it's almost now. It's like actually, it's sort of deliberately cartoony style.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be realistic.
It's not supposed to be realistic. It's keeping the PS2 aesthetic, but giving us that modern. Oh, I'm
very
but
excited.
GTA 5 control scheme as well, so it's better for shooting, it's better for running and cover and everything.
Totally.
Yeah, I was obviously, that's a game I would probably. I was about to say, it's a game I'd want on the PS5, but they're still old games. I'm not bothered by GTA 3. Never played it.
Yeah,
Not bothered by it. The only one I'll be missing is Vice City for sure. But 3 is going onto PS Now.
Yeah.
It's downloadable. So if you really wanted to play 3, just get a month of PS Now. Still cheaper than buying the full game.
Sure, somehow, some way, if
they sell Vice City a la carte, I'll pick that up on PlayStation down the line.
They must eventually.
When I want to scratch the GTA itch again. But playing just San Andreas is going to be enough on Game Pass for me to because I'm not going to. Could you imagine? People will obviously, but playing 3, then Vice City, then San Andreas in quick succession,
a bit much.
It's just it's too much of the same, as much as they are like classic games. So no, I'm so into that. And then obviously Forza Horizon 5 is coming out soon. Anyway, I'm not finished. I've got one more game, and you're going to be chuffed. I cannot stop thinking about and playing Tetris Effect. Oh my goodness!
Oh, I was not expecting that.
I've never really grown up playing Tetris. I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
And no pun intended, but it just clicked. The other day, you know what I mean? And Kerry and I were playing it, taking turnabout on it. And
did you get high?
We got a high score, and no, you don't need to on that TV. You know what I mean? It looks so stunning. Because I had that problem with the HDMI cable, but we've got that fixed, so HDR's on and all that's on the Xbox.
No black floor mastering though. It's the only disappointing thing.
Oh, well.
But that's just my extreme nerdism.
That's your extreme nerdism, but the quality and levels and the stress that some of those final boss levels in kind of each sort of group of 4 and stuff like that can be caused. So a wide range of emotions were had just playing a game of Tetris, but I now want to buy it in PlayStation and plug it into the VR headset and have a go of it there. But that's not an immediate thing because
it's just so cool, isn't it?
It's just so cool, and so we played through the whole thing on beginner, and I've now been playing it on normal and doing fine with that. But playing it on beginner just let me sort of learn the ropes. And to be honest, there's not really much difference between beginner. It's mainly that you don't have to clear as many lines.
Yeah.
But we were getting to the point where we were only had 2 lines at the bottom, and we were finished the level and moved on to the next one. So it's definitely I'm better at it now. So thoroughly enjoy. Speaking of the Pathless though, before we move on. I've got that downloaded on my iPhone. I got a 3-month free Apple Arcade thing, and the Pathless was on it.
What?
I'm like, yeah. So
I didn't know that was even released on that.
Yeah, because I think it's quite mobile. I think that was the main kind of main contention with it. But you've got it on disc, so I'd rather play it on the big TV and looking good.
Yeah, obviously they were sort of PlayStation-centric developers.
Yeah.
So I liked to think that even their haptics would have been at least moderately something.
I think they are, from what I've heard.
So, to use half of that voucher, I'm like, I want to finally get this one, see what it's all about.
Yeah, and I'll borrow it from you when you're done, so I can have a shot of it. Because I'm not going to play on my phone, but I was like, the Pathless, and I just clicked download.
There you go.
I took it to 3-month Apple Arcade, and then have played Tetris Beat on it because I was wanting to play more Tetris.
Give me all that Tetris.
But Tetris Beat is that you need to play it in rhythm to the music, but there's also just traditional Tetris mode in it, so I've not touched the end times of the music stuff, and I've just played normal Tetris on my phone. So
yes.
But it's better than the Tetris app on the phone, because that's riddled with microtransactions and ads. Whereas anything on Apple Arcade, the whole point of it is that there's no ads, there's no microtransactions and stuff like that. So that was nice.
Yeah.
So that was a fun conversation. Let's move on to the brunt of today's episode. As you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about Battle Royale games. It's a Warzone out there. So, for as many of you might know that have listened to any episodes before, or hear our conversations, we're not online gamers. We're not overly multiplayer game. Myself more so recently, but mainly just because of Warzone. You have jumped into Battlefield betas and stuff of late, but that's just curiosity and stuff. But before Warzone came around, you dabbled in Gears of War multiplayer, Halo multiplayer. We played through the Division together, like co-op. You know, we've played Borderlands and stuff. So it's definitely not been necessarily PvP centric in a lot of things that we've done online. You know, playing together. It's been more sort of co-op and PvE and things like that. So that's kind of context for where we're at. You know, pre August 2020, September 2020, that kind of time. So let's just go in. So I've got, for anyone that's not aware, I've got the definition of a Battle Royale game here. I feel it just words it better than what I would say. So a Battle Royale game is an online multiplayer video game genre that blends last man standing gameplay with survival, exploration and scavenging elements of a survival game. Battle Royale games involve dozens to hundreds of players who start with minimal equipment and must eliminate all other opponents while avoid being trapped outside a shrinking safe area or safe zone, and the winner being the last player or team alive. The name for the genre is taken from the 2000 Japanese film Battle Royale, itself based on a novel of the same name, which presents a similar theme of last man standing, blah, 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 blah. The genre's origins, though, which I actually didn't realise, were from mods for like Minecraft and Arma 2 in the early 2010s. By the end of the decade, the genre had become a cultural phenomenon with standalone games such as Pubg, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds in 2017, Fortnite Battle Royale in 2017, Apex Legends in 2019, and then Warzone in 2020. That's Call of Duty, each having received tens of millions of players within months of their releases. That's kind of what I wanted. That's all I've got necessarily with copied and pasted from the internet definitions here. What I was interested about was kind of where it started from, as Pubg, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Now, have you had any experience with Pubg?
Not at all.
Totally fine. I've got little to none. I've got it. It was a PS Plus game. Never played it. So there we go.
Isn't it free now? Or
it's not free. It's not free to play just now. As far as I know. I don't think it is. Anyway, but that kind of is a part of our conversation, is the free-to-play nature. So 2017. So this is very recent. Obviously, this is the sort of one of, you would maybe argue, the most recent sort of genre of game to sort of take over the cultural zeitgeist, as it were. Would you agree? Would you say there's anything more recent since?
No, that probably is. It's quite a drawn out zeitgeist, but
of course,
yeah,
yes,
probably.
So what you've got is obviously Pubg. Pubg was very, influential, and that was started as a mod for, I want to say DayZ. I can't remember. PlayerUnknown was right. A modder in different games, and modded a game like DayZ. I can't quite remember, to the point where he pretty much made a Battle Royale game in it, and then launched his own game from that. From that there. So that's why it's called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, because it was PlayerUnknown. That was the guy that made it. But along comes a little team called Epic Games, who made Fortnite. Now, do you remember Fortnite before Fortnite was Fortnite?
No, and I forgot that was even Epic. Well, it's interesting though, because one of the notes, I just feel like because on this sort of thread of the beginnings of it and how it sort of became what it is today and how it's so popular. Of course, Epic. I'm right in saying that they were Unreal Tournament, right?
Right? Yeah, because Unreal Engine.
They made that before Gears of War. It was like kind of...
Yeah, because it was Unreal Engine and stuff like that.
Yeah, so actually, I suppose if you go way back to like sort of big-ish or scale multiplayer sort of shooters or whatever, that's maybe one you could see as like a kind of one that evolved.
Precursor.
It's almost like the Battle Royale is a sort of modern like desire to add depth into the kind of what we know as multiplayer shooters.
Yeah, traditional multiplayer,
so Unreal 2, because you did have big kind of scale, that Unreal Tournament maybe not so much, but like Battlefield and MAG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, yeah.
They
massive action game.
Right. So scale was that was kind of the first.
Well, there's always been a desire for scale in multiplayer. That's the selling point of a Battlefield, of MAG, was the amount of players in the lobby. But obviously with that comes, infinite respawns and, objective-based gameplay and
Yeah.
different game modes and stuff, which is still, alive to this day, but almost just because of its legacy. But there was definitely, the reason the Battle Royale worked so well is because there was a desire for something new, clearly. I mean, there had to have been for
it's a natural evolution.
A natural evolution, for sure, because COD multiplayer does not get the same viewership.
It just seems boring to me.
Well, yeah.
In the face of...
Genuinely, for myself as well, I've jumped into multiplayer to unlock things that are hard to unlock in Warzone. That's it. I'm looking forward to jumping into Vanguard multiplayer because it will have that kind of new feel. Not
new but old.
New but old, yeah. No, okay, maybe new maps and new guns to level up and unlock and stuff. So there'll be a bit of fun with that there. But I'll guarantee you that by the time I'm sort of quite comfortably set up and Warzone's integrated, I'll hardly be going to it. Yeah. I'd be probably jumping in for zombies more than multiplayer at that point, which is kind of what happened with Cold War. So there's definitely this, like, it's almost that if you take Call of Duty for example, that was the sort of the multiplayer was its focus, and now it's almost like the multiplayer is like a supplementary thing for wanting to progress in Warzone, which has obviously become the thing.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected that at the time.
Well, that exactly, and because remember, Call of Duty had a battle royale before Warzone.
Sort of they experimented with doing it.
Blackout, and it was paid for. And that was one of the reasons why it didn't.
Oh, really? Because I thought it was included with the Black Ops game at the time.
It was included with the Black Ops game, but you had to pay for Black Ops.
Right, yeah.
So Warzone's free to play, and that's a big element to it. So
the seed was planted.
But we'll come to Call of Duty soon because that's where we're going to kind of settle on, because that's where we've got the most experience. But Fortnite comes out, right? But if you remember Fortnite before, it was literally a tower defense wave horde mode game.
I mean, I totally lost track of that
because it was, we watched like GDC, like developer commentaries on Fortnite like years ago. I don't think it was called Fortnite then.
I mean, I almost certainly just blanked it from my memory. I was probably so disinterested.
Of course, at the time. But it had the building element of Fortnite that we all know and love, and but it was against waves of enemies, and then they effectively just saw PUBG doing what they were doing and went, oh, we could do that, and then just immediately trounced them. Do you know what I mean? Like, just straight away, just no one was talking about PUBG anymore, and everyone jumped onto Fortnite. And that's my first experience of a Battle Royale game, was my one game of Fortnite, of which I went, I hate this with a burning passion, and turned it off, and never to be played again.
Fault, shite.
Absolutely. So never to be played again, or so I thought. Well, not Battle Royale games in general. I was like, I'm a single player guy. I'm not a multiplayer guy.
Same for me, yo.
Yeah. So, did you ever play Fortnite?
No, I've never played.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Next, I mean, there was obviously lots of copies that came out. Next was Apex Legends, which I didn't touch until after Warzone, but I'll come to that in a second.
I do know a few people that play a lot of Apex Legends.
So Apex was interesting because I've got the stats here because I remember when it came out. So that was 2019. So I
think I've watched you play it, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's good enough.
That's the same thing. So Apex Legends, for those who don't know, it's based on the Titanfall. It's in the Titanfall universe, but it's effective because it's the movement, it's the guns, and it's the engine from Titanfall 2 as a Battle Royale game. Of which Titanfall 2 is a very competent first-person shooter and a very good online experience. So Apex was definitely the one to watch at this time. It was probably the one that, had I known that I would actually like Battle Royale games myself, that I could have seen myself in retrospect getting into. Yeah. Especially if I got you guys into it as well, and that it was like we could play it as a team and there was a more social element. My main issue with playing Apex just now is that I know no one that plays it, so I've only ever really played it with randoms, and I've won a couple of games of it. It's much easier than Warzone in my opinion. Maybe that was just the skill-based matchmaking though, but it was definitely easier. But Apex players will hate me saying that. Apex Legends gets 25 million downloads in the first week.
Ooh.
And 50 million by the end of its first month.
Jeez.
So this is 2 years after, maybe a year and a half after Fortnite comes out. It's 2 calendar years, 2017 to 2019. Can't remember the exact months. Since Fortnite comes out, there's clearly a desire for a different Battle Royale game.
Yeah.
For people to jump over so rapidly. But it's also comes into Fortnite, comes into Apex Legends and Warzone. There's that free-to-play element. Why not try it? It's costing you nothing. Why not try it? So free-to-play, that's clearly been the driving factor for these being as successful as they are. But what do you think, to you, right, let's go. So Apex Legends, I've played a little bit. It's good. It's a really good game. But anyway, that's fine. Warzone. Let's come to what we can actually talk a little bit more about. But before we talk really about that, what was it, Warzone-wise, to you? Let's get context here. Lockdown. Sorry, I just want to get the context in before we ask this question. Lockdown, we've tried every co-op game under the sun. We've played Division 2, we even tried Destiny 2, we've tried everything. What is it that made you say, I go on with Warzone?
So obviously COVID definitely helped.
Yes.
I would say that I almost certainly would never have gotten into it if it wasn't for COVID.
No.
Because I just wouldn't have been afforded the sort of space and time to think about it and be like, right, okay, now I get why people are actually willing to sit down and invest their time into games like this. Because I was just so not interested in any form of like pure multiplayer experiences.
And neither was I, in fairness.
But, just sitting down, giving it a shot for the second time, actually, because way earlier, April or something, way back at the start, it was like somebody else had been like, right, get good and join us. And then I did the tutorial and tried to figure it out. I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. So I swiftly gave up.
Of course.
But then obviously you got into it and then you were sort of enthusiastically telling me like, oh, this is how it works and actually you'll get it. And so you've always been really good at actually like hand holding me through things that I don't understand into realizing, oh, okay, I get why.
Well, I know that sounds kind of lame, and I don't mean it like this, but I do teach. I teach instruments, and I could say I can, and I train people in my work and stuff like that. So I've got an ability to do that, and make it. But I have to say, as learning curves go, it's a steep learning curve for Warzone for sure. Like
it was steep for me. I kind of got into it scratching and clawing.
Yeah.
And even then...
But we had a lot of fun, though.
Oh, no, definitely. Even then, at my peak, I was still never very good. But I've never been very good at first-person shooters anyway. I've said that multiple times.
But at the same time, it's only really, I've had to put in the hours to call myself, like, even average at the game in comparison to some, you know what I mean? Like, I'm better now than I was even from the last time we played. And, but that's... that's just nerdy practice. But there's also a community around it, and that's a big thing, I'd say, for all of these games, is the community around it, but also just how watchable these games are. Before any Battle Royale games, I've never watched a streamer, I've never watched gameplay videos, as in like just a content creator on YouTube. Like I've watched gameplay for, a game that I want to see how it runs and what it looks like, but I've not like sat and actively watched a gameplay video or watched a Twitch stream. But there's something about a Battle Royale game when you watch someone do it well, for me anyway, this is, that you can learn so much by watching. There's like tutorial video, like how to get better at Warzone on YouTube and stuff. But there's this community that are, so into that game, in my case Warzone, and there's tips and tricks, there's best loadout videos, and that's something I want to kind of talk about with Warzone and why this one has worked for us here. But I find that even in myself, who's now into more online games than I have been before, I can't watch anything on Twitch or YouTube that isn't Warzone, and that's even me as a fan of like traditional multiplayer or like zombies or something.
Yeah,
I can't watch other people play that. It's boring. Whereas watching people play Warzone, even if they're not like the best in the world, is interesting because you're going like, oh, how are they going to get out of this? There's almost like a story mission structure through it in a weird way.
Right. So you've touched on a few different points over the course of that little bit there that I kind of did note down. And I think particularly like you're saying with Warzone, there's an ebb and flow to it.
Yeah.
The sort of stakes that are in it, especially for the pros.
Of course.
And watching them try to achieve that, but yeah, the kind of the downtime and then moments of action and then tense moments of, and for me, this is where the sort of vibe of the old Rainbow Six games comes into it, which is what I've talked about before, where it's like, you're sort of covering behind a corner and you kind of know somebody's there and you've got different approaches that you can take to try and sort of
finesse and outplay them or
get the best of that other team.
Yep.
And there's definitely a satisfaction of outthinking other team.
Yeah,
but then also knowing that you're all just in this one big map and you need to move on to the next area where a different challenge will face you. It's very dynamic and emergent gameplay, which I think is impressive. Because, they talked about emergent gameplay in single-player games in years gone by, but now actually to have authentic, real, live players creating their own chaos and set pieces, it's definitely... So one of the things I wrote was the reason I liked it, and I think, again, it was a timing thing that hitting after us playing so many board games and getting into it.
Yeah, I've got this down.
I felt like I was immersed in a real-life board game.
Yep. 100%.
For me, with Warzone, it was like just the right level of depth and sort of like real. So there's definitely like hokey, gamey bits in it, but like,
of course,
flashing stars or something will come out of a gun or something.
Like tracer packs and stupid skins and being
zombies
able to,
and stuff
to deploy and then redeploy your parachute and then cut it and then redeploy it and all this.
But it being Call of Duty, there's still a sort of level of grittiness and realism there that I don't know, something about being in that war zone. Yeah, just getting dropped in and being like, okay, right, guys. There was almost a slight horror element to it. I remember saying at the start.
Yeah, and there was
so tense.
Definitely more at the beginning. The more you get used to it, the more you can kind of feel like you can take control of a situation.
Relax, yeah.
But the fact is that Warzone for me, we've always compared it to the likes of a board game where you're, it's interesting, we think like, we play a lot of, I have played a lot of Catan and stuff like that, and not that it's the same kind of idea, but the fact is that, you and I could be like gunning over, and no pun intended, but we could be like gunning for this one area on the board and then
monopolizing.
But then we've not seen that Kerry's just coming over and just like third-partied us, to use a COD term, where you've just come across two teams fighting and you're just picking them off one by one, and then you're so you know what I mean. Like there's this. No two games are the same. There are similar elements. There are times where you're in the same building and you can and you can use. Oh, I remember last time I was in this building. I went round this way and I jumped out the window and then jumped back in the bottom floor, and they weren't expecting me. Maybe that'll work again, and maybe it does work again, and maybe it doesn't. But it worked the last time, so let's give it a shot. You learn by playing it. You learn by making mistakes. In the same way in a board game that you wouldn't make you wouldn't do that same thing unless you were forced to. You would do that in Warzone, whereas traditional multiplayer team deathmatch, you just respawn and then just like run in a straight line and go, I'm going to go back to that bit I just died at because I think I'll be able to get that guy that just sniped me from the other side of the map.
There's a lot of moving parts at once that you need to be mindful of, and also the resource management element of it, which is a big part of a lot of board games.
Yeah, definitely.
Nerdy board games.
Exactly. Yeah. I think if we said board games, I think we can probably infer that they are nerdy board games.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Uno here,
No. I think it definitely took it to the next level, away from the sort of typical old-fashioned sort of numbness of just shooting for shooting's sake.
Yes. Because there's times where you're coming across the team and you're like, don't shoot. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
what was that?
don't
Oh, that was the charging cable from the laptop. I'm going to plug it back in.
How did I manage that?
Oh, your foot's locked into it. I'm away from my microphone now. Ding. Oh, bling. There you go.
Sorry about that.
That's fine. But like there are times where it's like you need to be disciplined. Sometimes you need to be like, oh, I can't take that fight on. I'm in the open here. Like I'm like a guy ran in front of me, but I'm out in the open. I need to go and get cover first. I need to think about, you take a shot at someone. We've been sniping quite a lot recently, so it's a bit more cognizant of it here. You take a snipe at someone, they know where you are because of that glint.
Yeah.
So you take one shot, you need to move. You need to reposition because they're going to be aiming at that one bit again. So if you stand still, you're just asking for it. They still might not be able to hit you, but you're just asking for it to go wrong. And it's
Those
just,
are the moments.
Yeah,
it's really, God, yeah. There's so many little points that I want to kind of. So you mentioned how way before all that they are inherently social games, just because you absolutely have to work as a team.
Oh, 100%, and I love that about it.
And you just maybe it's not so much with other games where it's maybe just it's not team based so much.
Yeah.
But you still need to be very aware of, the presence of real people.
Yep.
And I don't know, maybe there is this is showing my lack of experience with the other ones, but maybe there is still quite a communication element to it.
I'd say absolutely. I think there definitely is. I think a good battle royale works on its the need for communication. Apex Legend, I would actually say, is probably the best for non-verbal communication. Their ping system's really good. Like you can ping, in Warzone, you can really just ping a location or double ping to ping an enemy or get a live ping on an enemy, but in Apex you can actually choose what the ping, and then the character that you're playing as will be like, I see movement over there, or I'm repositioning over there and stuff like that. So that's what's quite good about it. But at the end of the day, on mics, communicating with your team and having like a sort of similar game plan. Like we play now, like Richard and Kerry and I will play, and if I play with my friend Duncan, we'll pretty much just be sniping. We'll snipe the whole time. That's his preferred way of playing. I enjoy playing that with him. But when it comes to playing with Richard, we like to snipe, but we also like to take assault rifle. So I know this is as dorky as it is, we'll look at what the circle's looking like when we drop, and then where we drop and how quickly we get our loadout, and we'll say, right, are we taking assault rifle? Are we taking snipes? Are we, and then everyone's on the same boat. We all kind of adapt to that game plan. So if we're taking sniper, we're going to go up to power positions. We're going to find the top of a building. We're going to find a good bit of cover, and we're going to start taking shots from a place, a power position. If we take assault rifle, we're going to go and push buildings. We're going to have an SMG. And that's the other thing that works so well for me. There's two elements of this that made it work. Was that you can get bought back. You can't. Very rare. Like in Apex, there's a version of it that got added. It's not quite like a buyback, but anyway, that's fine. You can get bought back. You dying is not the end. There's the gulag system, so you can get back without needing to be bought back.
Yeah.
And loadouts. Loadouts are huge in this game, and that's the reason why Warzone has worked more than the likes of Blackout, more than even like Apex Legends, because of loadouts. Obviously, Apex Legends has its arsenal of weapons, but you pick them up, and then if you find an attachment on the ground and it's compatible with one of your weapons, it'll automatically be put on it. So you can, but it's RNG, it's random number generator, it's loot based. Whereas in Warzone, there's a free loadout drop, and it happens at the same time every game. There's another one later on in the game, and you can buy your own as well. And all that to be, to have a game where you have this tactic of, right, we're going to buy our loadout first, we're going to get both of our guns, but I also want to be ghosted. I want to be off those UAVs and off those heartbeat sensors. So when the free one comes around, we're going for that there. If you miss the free one, or you're in the middle of a fight and the gas pushes it out, you need to be aware that you're coming up on a UAV. You need to, and so if you hear that call out going, enemy UAV in the area, you need to be aware, like, right, they can see me, I'm out in the open just now. There's like, all of this is going through your mind, and that's why it's like, not accessible to the new players to play. Sorry, right, maybe that's not fair. I think if 4 new players were to join and play at the same time, I think they'd have a great time and just like fail and go, let's try again. But for a new player to come into an established team of people that have been playing it like we have, I don't envy them. Do you know what I mean?
Scary.
I played with my mate Craig the other day from my band, and he was like, I've picked up lately, and I was like, right, let's play. And I was just like, right, we're going here, we're doing this, we're going here. And I was like, I had to consciously try and like corral myself and just like chill and just whatever happens. Whereas, with everyone else, it's just like, right over here, okay, like, oh, guy on my 6. No, we're not quite like that, but there's like code names for everything, and it's just hilarious. But I mean, the moments, it reminds me of the stories that you hear, or in classic. We're talking about Grand Theft Auto games, right? The sort of water cooler moments, they call them, like, in my game the other day, I did this and it was hilarious, and I did that, and everyone has that different thing. This, to me, is my version of that, where
it's made for it.
I've got clips saved, and I send them to my mates going, this, and then they'll send me a clip back going, I just played this game and this happened, and it's just like so, cool to share your moments, and it's dorky, it's it's a bit lame, but we have fun doing it. So there's definitely this element of it working more so than others, but also, at the end of the day, Call of Duty is just the best shooter, like, for feel. It just is.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot going for it.
Yeah.
To begin with, I mean.
But let's also talk about its launch. It came out at the beginning of a pandemic, where everyone
stars aligned for sure.
It was like Warzone wouldn't be where it is today without the lockdowns. I think it would still be very popular. I think its free to play element in nature would be very enticing for many.
Yeah.
And it was hyped before it came out, before we knew about a lockdown and anything. So it was, more talked about pre-release than the previous Battle Royale Call of Duty game with Blackout. So there was definitely an element of that there. But it's a game that, I don't know, there's like this element of mutual kind of, and it's the same with any game if you especially like competitive stuff, but you see someone out in the wild and you hear that they play Warzone, and you've instantly got like, you could talk for hours about it, like, I did this, and show each other clips. I remember we were shopping for, Kerry was getting a new MacBook for uni. I've told you this story, but I'll say on the podcast. But and the sales assistant guy was sort of chatting away. Kerry knew what one she was getting. He brought it out, ready to purchase. He purchased it, and then he started showing me like a bunch of different, like I was showing, my appreciation for. Oh no, I was getting the AirPods Pro at the time as well. So he was like, have you tried the noise cancelling and the Dolby Atmos, the surround kind of thing? Mm-hmm. And he was like, let's try it on the AirPods Max, the over-ear headphones. So he was showing me that, we're chatting away. Kind of got onto the question of like neat setups, like, like cable tidying, and like just super dorky. And he showed us a picture of his setup, and he's got a Mac Mini plugged into a monitor, and a PlayStation plugged into the monitor, and the PlayStation's on in the picture, and he's downloading a Warzone update. So we go, you play Warzone as well? We play. So it's like silly things. But then I'm not kidding, like half an hour of us on our phones he's in the middle of his work, and we're just showing each other clips, for like, I did this the other day, and and you're like, I just spent the 5 minutes actually purchasing the thing we came in for, and then like 45 talking about this game. And silly things. My friend Duncan, who I play with, he messaged me the other day. He wasn't meant to be on Wednesday. He said, I'll be on Friday and we can play then, kind of thing. And he was like, I was just working today. He's a tattoo artist, and he was like, and I had a client, or my friend had a client, and was talking about Warzone, and we talked about it for his whole tattoo session. And then while he was getting tattooed, and I was tattooing someone else, and then it made me so hyped, and I just needed to come on and play tonight. This is a year after it's come out. A year and a half after it's come out.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you know what I mean? Like, so it's not for everyone, of course not. No game is, but there's this element of Warzone that once you kind of get past that learning curve, of which is hard, don't get me wrong. Like I was, I don't really know what kept me going in it. I don't really know what it was, but something
Richard's
kept me going.
enthusiasm.
Richard's enthusiasm. Shout out to Richard and his enthusiasm. And it's still to this day, do you know what I mean? We play it all the time together. We're playing tonight. You know, Kerry just got her PS5 today and downloading Warzone immediately, 120 frames per second on the monitor. You know, all these things, like, we're ready to go.
It's all happening.
It's all happening. And then also we're on the eve of not the literal eve of, but you know, the new map coming out, and there's an excitement, a sort of rejuvenation in the community of something new to come, and there's just this sort of cyclical nature. But the fact that for me, I've just surpassed 30 days played of just core Warzone. That's not including Rebirth. That's not including any other Call of Duty, you know, multiplayer and zombies and campaigns. 30 days on just Verdansk alone in that one map, which has had a slight refresh in that time.
Which is that's 720 hours. If my maths is correct.
Let's see. So 24 times 30, 720, and I'm sort of halfway through day 30. So I had like 12, 730 odd hours.
Plus all the hours for other Call of Duty related things.
So I've definitely surpassed 1,000 hours of COD since I started playing Warzone just over a year ago. September time.
Yeah. In case anybody hasn't noticed, this is definitely a Sam-led podcast.
Of course. Sorry.
I am nowhere near 1,000 hours.
No, you're but to be fair, I was looking at your stats the other day in anticipation of this. You're on like 7 days played,
which is.
I mean, it's going to look
still a lot more than I thought.
It's going to look like nothing in comparison, but 7 times 24 is 168 hours.
Oh wow! How have I managed that?
And that's pure. That's just Warzone. I'm not saying you played much Rebirth, but add a couple on for that, and that doesn't count the time in menus as well. Your time played on the PlayStation of being on that application will be over 200 hours.
Yeah.
But for you to have played 200 hours of a Battle Royale game, I think that speaks wonders to if you're playing with the right people and it's fun and it's sociable, but it's tense. It's maybe, you know, I think it speaks wonders for this game, and I can't gush about it enough. It genuinely. I'd probably rethink I'd have to rethink my top 10 games of all time because of this.
Whoa!
No, but I would.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I
can't really ignore.
I can't ignore 750 odd hours of just Warzone.
So I guess you probably can just count Warzone as its own entity.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah, because I wouldn't say like, oh, Modern Warfare or Cold War, like Black Ops Cold War. No, it's definitely the Warzone side of it.
I think it can.
And even Rebirth is fun. I really enjoy Rebirth Island, but even just core Verdansk or whatever, you know, the new map's going to be called at the time as well.
So I mean, aside from now, that was obviously a big love in there from yourself.
Yes, love in
for Warzone.
You can be negative if you wish.
No. I don't really have anything negative to say. Aside from the sort of conspiratorial angle that, you know, Activision and Apple and all that are actually just going to take over the world, and there'll be 5 companies that have taken over our minds.
Yeah.
There's a few other things that I just think are worth saying about, you know, its place in the industry these days. I mean, it kind of is like free to play evolved.
Yes.
Because I mean, it feels like a full price game. You're actually getting so much content, depth, like unlockables, options.
Well, you've not paid a penny for it, have you?
No.
And you've paid,
but then
200 hours.
Clearly, they've done such a good job that so many are willing to do the microtransactions.
Well, I mean, and
they're actually quite well balanced, really.
Well, that's it. It's purely cosmetic. I'd never paid for a microtransaction. But in fairness, what am I, like 750 hours of Warzone played? PlayStation says I played Modern Warfare for over 1,000 hours, but that will count like time spent in menus and loading screens and stuff like that. So it is more than that. But 750 hours of just time played in Warzone. That will also. So I've paid for one battle pass.
Yeah.
Because you get the amount for the next battle pass included. Like by completing the battle pass, you will get the next one for free if you don't use those COD points for anything else, because you get COD points in the battle pass. So I bought one. That was £8. I've bought. I had a couple of seasons worth of COD points saved up, so I bought a gun blueprint pack that for the Grow, shout out the Grow, which has actually made a wee return, which is quite fun. So if you come back in, you've got a near meta gun.
God help me when I choose to return.
You'll have the new map. We'll all be on the starting point. You'll all have no map awareness. It'll be fine. And then it'll be fine. And then I bought an AMAX pack for one of the assault rifles, and I've bought 2 of the COD League skins for 2 of the teams, because you get camos that you can put on any of your guns, and they look really, really good. And those were both £8 each. So that's what, 16, 24. I've probably spent £26 on that game total.
Which, is not nothing. And if there's millions of people doing that. I think what they do is they've created it, and obviously other ones as well. It's not just Warzone, but it is about sort of crafting this ultimate carrot on a stick. Because, ultimately, like, getting a win, it's quite rare in the grand scheme. It's tough, but not impossible in the sense of achievement when you do get wins and achieving certain statistics and stuff. I think that is a big part. It's really well balanced in that kind of way.
You create your own challenges. You can set your own goals in the game for you. Like, for example, your KD ratio, your kill death. I've surpassed 1, so I'm now in a positive KD.
Oh, you finally did
overall. No, but that's the thing. For the past 6-7 months, I've been playing at like a 1.3 KD.
Yeah,
but
that's crazy.
But because of how bad I was when I started, it's taken so long to change my overall KD. So I'm now at 1.03.
0.67, I think I am.
I think you are, yeah, something like that. So
I'll take it.
Go for it. So I've surpassed the 1 KD, and then funnily enough, since I started sniping, we've been winning a lot more. So, the goal is by the time Warzone, like Verdansk, is gone, I need to have cracked 100 wins, and I'm on 98 just now. Mm-hmm. So I'm almost there. So it's these things, like we set these little silly goals that mean nothing, but just to ourselves.
Well, you've not had 100 wins yet.
No, we went through a period of time where we had like a month to 2 months of no wins.
That does show you how much it takes to get the wins.
Yeah, we had to really change up our strategy to get wins, because we were playing a bit too aggressive for at least my skill level.
But clearly that gave you a lot of satisfaction in doing that.
Oh, definitely. When it started,
clearly still so invested in this
that I've been able to, on 2 occasions in the past sort of month and a half, I've had 3 in a row, 2 times on 3 in a row wins, and 5 in one gameplay session and stuff like that. These are just like so satisfying to get, and it makes. But at the same time, if you're having fun, and that's the thing, is that there's been a few nights where I've just had to go, I'm not having fun here, and turn it off, and I will. I'm not just. It's not like when I first started where I was like, no, we need to get a win tonight. I'm like, it's not happening tonight. I'm just going to jump off, and that's fine.
Well, these things are living things. They're kind of live service. They have
there's balancing issues. There's problems. There's broken guns that come in.
It's an ebb and flow.
It's an ebb and flow.
But I think as you sort of mentioned about the community earlier, that's a big part of it as well.
Yep.
It's it will ebb and flow with how the community feels about it and stuff, and it's just kind of this interesting kind of section of gaming that feels different to the sort of single player segment, which is why I kind of wish it would there should be more of a definitive line. Don't even bother trying to invade single player games with elements of that. Just let that be its own
thing,
world. But yeah, that's kind of most of the thoughts I had. Obviously you play it a lot more than me.
This episode is as long as it needs to be. Do you know what I mean? We're at an hour, which is great. So I'm chuffed with that. I've kind of spoken about what I want to talk about, but obviously there's a sort of warning for. Let's sort of finish off talking about this. A little bit of a shorter episode today, just because it's really about one. Ended up just really being about one game, but we've talked quite a lot about that one thing, so it's a bit more specific. But the warning for the future of Battle Royale games. There's already an oversaturation in this market.
I was going to ask you, what do you think the future?
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is you can't just rest on your laurels as Call of Duty. You can't rest on your laurels as Battlefield. Battlefield 5 had a Battle Royale mode called Firestorm.
Wow.
No one played it.
But that's a case of them just trying to
Jump on the
throw their
bandwagon.
hat in without even.
But they threw their hat in with just a shoddy, just fling it together. Whereas it needs to
people
be,
will play it.
It needs to be
Well thought
out. And you think about Verdansk, as much as it's been, we've played that map over and over again. It's a very well designed map. Like,
Has to be.
it has to be, and that will be the same for Fortnite. The Apex Legends maps are really good as well. I would say a little bit less so, but purely because they are smaller and there's they rotate them in and out with different ones. So they're slightly more condensed, but still good nonetheless. Still good. So the future is we've heard this in podcasts and articles and videos. If you're in the middle of starting a Battle Royale game just now in development of one, hey, how about you just don't, because it's not going to work.
Well, yeah,
I'd be so shocked if anything works.
You could definitely see it just being a point in time where it will run its course and actually it kind of goes away for a while. And obviously there'll probably still be a segment of.
I think it'll just be the ones that are left. Do you know, the big ones? I think the big ones now will be the big ones for a while. I don't think there's room for any new ones, and that's just
no.
And that's coming from someone that wouldn't. If there's one to come out better, I'm still up for it. You know what I mean? I'm willing to try, but there's just these communities are so ingrained in there. And there was a period of time where there's been obviously we're not going to go into hackers and cheaters. We've played cross-play off lobbies, so we just play on PlayStation. But the hacking problem is bad, especially because it's a free-to-play game, so these people can just make new accounts over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into that today, but there was a time where the community, the streamers, were if you guys don't fix this, we're out, we're leaving. And some of them left, started playing Apex Legends, realized they weren't as good at Apex Legends as they were at Warzone, and came back a week later. So it's kind of put your money where your mouth is. But they're coming out with an anti-cheat system with the launch of Vanguard, so I'm interested to see how that works. I'm not bothered to overlay purely because I play on PlayStation, so can turn off crossplay, and there's a healthy player base on PS4 and PS5. But yeah, it's the strangest sort of turn of events for Kerry and myself,
for your taste,
for our taste. But I'm so glad it's happened. It's led to a lot of really.
Could you
really
feel
fun.
yourself getting worn out at all? Still,
no.
That is crazy,
Isn't it? That's the thing. I thought I would. No,
because obviously I am the polar opposite. I get burnt out on things,
and that's fine.
Immediately.
That's fine. But no, I'm still on it.
But it doesn't matter what it is, though. It's
For sure,
there's no prejudice for me.
No.
On
except for maybe a football game, you were always able to.
Oh well, yeah. That is probably my one constant. This year's been a bit different because I've been so burned by them.
Oh, burned by them, not burned out on them, but burned by them. Of course, no, that makes sense. But no, that's probably the constant. Because even I would probably say it's my football game, but I would even say it's still probably more intense.
You definitely still play COD
more.
way more than I play football games.
Oh, definitely.
At this current time in our lives, for sure.
Yeah. But no, it's still an every night thing. And me and my friend will organise, afternoon sessions that last. We played on Monday and Friday there for 7 hours during the day. There's no other game I can do that with.
Eventually, things will shift.
Like all things will.
Gaming is so cyclical.
Absolutely.
Just because of a saturation issue and things just overstaying their welcome. But it'll probably, within the next couple of years, it'll die down and go away for 5 to 10 years, and then they'll probably come back and be shiny and new. And
I remember Battle Royale games.
It'll be interesting to see
with arena shooters. Arena shooters are coming back in a big way with Halo and Splitgate and stuff like that. They went away for a while. They've come back.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm quite satisfied. Are you?
I'm glad.
Good.
I am satisfied not playing it. No, I enjoyed my time.
Yeah.
I think for me, I got the most fun when we were all fairly new and kind of getting like a laugh out of it because we were just frantically trying to survive and there was like real tangible heart palpitations and tension and kind of joy when we succeeded.
Yes.
And then obviously when you kind of pulled away way out in front in terms of skill level and actually sticking with it, and I was like, right, I can't really keep up here.
And that's okay.
That's fine,
you know,
because I'm still motivated to try again.
Yeah,
at some point. I'm not.
We'll play on the new map. We'll have a laugh because we'll all be in the same boat. Do you know what I mean? You know, with the gunplay, the you know what we've got unlocked and stuff will be a little bit different. But at the end of the day, our map awareness will be the same.
Still, all 100 gigabytes are still on my console.
Of course.
Somehow, I've never had the urge to delete it, even though I've not played it in months.
Yep.
So. Yeah, I mean, so what is actually the case with that? Is it gonna turn into a PS5 app?
I think you'll need to download a new app.
Ah, right, okay, that's fine. My internet's fairly capable.
Yeah, no, I'll just put it on when the download comes up. I'll just put it on overnight on rest mode. It'll be done by.
And when is this going to be?
Date's not confirmed yet, but this season finishes in like the first week of December. It's rumoured to be like 1st or 2nd of December that the integration happens. It might be the week after if it gets delayed a bit. But
fair enough.
But early December. Because the game comes out, Vanguard comes out on the 5th of November. So there's about just shy of a month rumoured for time to level up some guns and, you know, play through. And you know, so I'm going to play a lot of Vanguard multiplayer then just to get a wee head start on leveling guns up for when they launch in Warzone and I can use them then. So it's exciting. But I need to pee really, really badly because I've drank so much water.
Aye, let's end it.
So we're going to finish it there. But thank you very much for listening. A bit of a shorter episode today, but more focused, one might say, on one particular topic. So we hope you enjoyed it. This one goes out to all my Warzone guys out there. Love yous all. Goodbye.
Bye.